All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Glad to be back.
This time, we're looking at something that, I mean, just caught my eye immediately when I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
It's January 2025,
Okay.
and former President Trump is meeting with Italy's new Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni.
Mm. Mm.
Trump is out of office now, so what's the big deal here? What are we even looking at?
Right.
But then you start to think about it.
Yeah.
Meloni, she's relatively new. She's known for her far-right politics.
Uh-huh.
And they're meeting at Mar-a-Lago,
Interesting.
of all places.
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions.
It really does.
Yeah.
So,
I think one of the things that really jumps out at me is that it's not just your typical diplomatic meeting, right? Trump, he went out of his way to praise Meloni, saying that she's taking Europe by storm.
wow.
That's quite a statement. And it feels very deliberate, like he's sending a message or aligning himself with her in a way that's unusual for a former president.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This makes you wonder, what's going on here?
Right.
What is he hoping to achieve?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think to understand that,
yeah.
we have to look at Meloni herself a little bit.
Right.
For those who maybe aren't as familiar.
Yeah, for our listeners that maybe
Yeah.
haven't really followed her too closely.
So she's the leader of the Brothers of Italy party.
Uh-huh.
And this party has deep roots,
Mm-hmm.
going all the way back to Italy's post-war far-right movement.
Hmm.
So when we talk about far-right,
Yeah.
her stance on things like immigration are a prime example. Very strong border control,
Uh-huh.
very much limiting asylum seekers.
Mhm.
And it really aligns with this kind of global trend we've been seeing of populist leaders gaining traction.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, too,
Yeah.
because like you said,
Uh-huh.
not just the meeting, it's the location. Like Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, absolutely. That adds a whole other dimension, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not just a meeting.
Right.
It's a statement.
Yeah. Exactly. Think about it. Mar-a-Lago is almost like a symbol for Trump.
Yeah.
His brand of politics,
Mhm.
his persona, it's all wrapped up in that place. So by choosing to meet her there, it's almost like he's saying, I'm still relevant.
Hmm.
Even though I'm out of office, I'm still a player on the world stage.
Right.
And, think back to his time in office, his foreign policy.
Oh, yeah.
It was often very unconventional,
Right.
very much willing to break with tradition.
Totally.
And this meeting could be a sign that he's going to continue that approach, building alliances with leaders that maybe align more with his worldview.
And that brings up another point, right? How does all of this impact U.S.-Italy relations going forward?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't
Yeah, it
it?
really is.
It's really hard to predict.
Ah.
There's a lot of different ways this could play out.
Yeah.
On one hand, it could lead to greater cooperation on things like trade and security,
Yeah.
where they may find some common ground.
Right, right.
But on the other hand, it could cause tension, especially if the current administration sees this as Trump trying to undermine their own foreign policy agenda.
Right. Almost like there's two different political games happening.
Exactly. There's the domestic scene within the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
and then there's this international chessboard.
And they're both being played at the same time.
And it makes you wonder, too, will this meeting inspire other similar partnerships?
Hmm.
Could we see other leaders, particularly those who feel maybe marginalized or overlooked by traditional powers?
Yeah.
Could they be drawn to figures like Trump?
It's certainly an intriguing question. So let's try and recap what we've got here. We have former President Trump,
Right.
who is clearly not out of the game, meeting with Giorgia Meloni, who is a rising star in European politics, who has a very specific ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And they chose to do all of this at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Which is, like we said,
A very loaded location.
absolutely. So
Definitely gives us a lot to think about.
it really does. A lot to unpack here.
I think the big takeaway is that this meeting raises a lot of crucial questions. What are the long-term implications of this for U.S.-Italy relations,
Wow.
for the global political scene? And is this a one-off?
Hmm.
Or is it a sign of things to come?
It's definitely something to watch.
Absolutely.
And for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
think about how this fits into the broader political shifts that we're seeing, both domestically and internationally.
Mm.
Are we seeing, alliances being formed differently than they used to be?
Yeah. Makes you think. Is power being wielded in new ways? It's definitely something to ponder.
Absolutely. Food for thought for everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.